That's the first difference that you notice, that the shadows are kind of more diffuse and not as deep. But the same thing could be said sometimes on a cloudy day here on this planet, so on the surface world.
Right.
So as far as the impressions that I had of it, the impression I had of it was, it's a really neat place. I wouldn't mind staying there. It's beautiful.
Wonderful. Is it on a vibrational level that if, say, I was to go into there, would I be able to see all this without having my own vibrations raised? In other words, is it invisible to people unless you are of a slightly higher vibration?
No. I was not of that, so I enjoyed it thoroughly. Anybody, if figure out a way to get through the tunnels and get down there, they're down there. And so you are there, you see everything around you, you'll see the crystal cities. So I would say that is not the case, from all that I know.
Yeah, I think these are the sort of questions that perhaps people ask themselves about it. Now, I believe you may have been hinting at what the people in the inner Earth do by talking about our own preparations. And you mentioned, for example, that we would meditate for about an hour a day in place of sleep.
Right.
So is this indeed correct that they...
Right. They have what they call a resting meditation. They will lie down on like a bed for about an hour, and they go into a deep resting meditation, and they rejuvenate themselves, and then they get up and go to work for the other 23 hours.
Yeah. Oh, that might not go down so well.
And the place is pretty comfortable. I mean, you get in one of their beds, it adjusts to you exactly, and it's almost impossible not to fall asleep. It's just so comfortable. Your brain just goes, oh my God, let me enjoy this, and the next thing you know, you're asleep.
That's lovely, yes. And I've no doubt the energy there is very relaxing and inducive to sleep, and you feel peaceful anyway.
Right, you do. You feel peaceful. You feel totally regenerated. So the place is just full of all this amazing energy because all the people there are constantly doing rituals and ceremonies and meditating.
Yeah.
And so the result is, it's like going into one of the highest energy ashrams you could possibly think of, and the whole inner world of our planet is like that. So it's just amazing place.
Yeah. Is it actually 100% correct to say that the beings of the inner Earth are those who went underground at the time Lemuria broke up, or are there other types of entities there?
Well, pretty much these are the groups that decided to not leave after Atlantis was destroyed, and originally the group, as you said, from Lemuria. So Lemuria actually was an inner Earth place and an outer Earth place. And the outer Earth place was destroyed, and then the inner Earth place took over for it. And so they have a tradition that goes, almost back 1 million years as far as civilization. So they constantly view upon us as being the people that are their cousins, their brothers and sisters, and they are very, very protective of us. And they, as a matter of fact, a lot of the guardian angels and other groups of angelics that you have around them are really not angels; they're people from inner Earth. So we have to realize that they are watching us all the time. I mean, I get in contact with people from inner Earth all the time on a spiritual level almost every day.
Yes. Are the beings themselves and their environment very similar to what you experience on board the motherships?
Very similar. The energies on the Syrian ship, to me, because I'm kind of prejudiced about that, it was a little bit higher, but they were very high vibration. Very high vibration.
Yes. So it's sort of home to home for them then, in a manner of speaking.
Yes, it is. That's why the Syrians and the other groups of Galactic Federation personnel that are part of the First Contact fleet that hang out all the time at the headquarters near the capital city of Agartha, which is what the inner Earth place is called, consider Shambhala and everything around it to be similar or almost the same as the ship in the Federation base. So they consider it interchangeable. And since I'm not of that energy, but I was just experiencing it all, I can say from my viewpoint they are absolutely correct.
Yes. Oh, that's interesting. Now, Now, I've been having a little read of your book, one that really I find very interesting. I mean, they all are, but I'm particularly taken by your book called Your First Contact. And you mention in there your contact, who was called Washtar. I believe he was your first one.
Right, he was.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you still have contact now?
I get in contact with him every so often. Most of the time, he is a Senate Master of the Syrian system, and every so often he interacts with Senate Masters here, and then I get to talk to him.
Right, okay. Because I think he was actually your guide then in that event.
Right, he was the person who took me through my childhood and then got me back to work, so to speak, in the late 1960s. I mean, late 1980s. I'll get it right yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it true that you are actually, shall we say, connected to a Syrian computer, and that they follow all your activities, what is happening to you, and so forth?
Right, yeah, they have me linked up all the time. So.
They do, yes. So I guess you're actually protected by that as well.
Right, anytime anything happens to me, I always get an increase in contact, so I'd say yes.
Does it work the other way? Can you contact them through that link?
Yes, I can. I do all the time. I have conversations with them all the time.
Oh, you do, right. Ah, dear me. Right, when you went on board one of the ships, you described it as one of your most enjoyable field trips, and you spoke of these mind-boggling sizes, where you mentioned one mothership that had 3 large interconnected rooms, telepathic contact with computers, geology labs, holographic monitors. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I describe it in detail in the latest DVD I've got, which is
right, yes.
The tour of the Syrian mothership. But the first thing that you figure out in your mind is that how advanced this technology is when you see the sizes they're dealing with. Like in the geology lab where they're studying the Earth, they have a holographic image that's a sphere, an exact copy of the Earth that is 1 mile across. And you sit there and you watch this thing being floating above your head, this huge globe, and it's an exact down to the millimeter replica of the planet. So if anything's happening on the planet, you'll see things happening on this scale model. And they have all kinds of devices that they use to monitor and bring in data all the time from the different ships and also from the robot probes that are constantly checking on this planet and upon us. And so you see all of this happening when you're there all the time in the geology lab. And all the other labs are like that. I mean, when you have this amazing, it's like the world's most advanced science museum. It is interactive and everything. It is just unbelievable. And so I enjoyed that thoroughly. Whenever they would allow me to stay for any period of time, I was in heaven, so to speak. I just enjoyed it. That's my background at the time.
Well,
I was just like, oh my God, that was my Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, you were interested in science, weren't you, at an early age? And I loved the story of when you worked in a lab. I think as the lad, you did all the odd jobs, and you could actually telepathically listen in to what they were thinking, as well as hearing their conversations.
Right. I could do that, and I did something which I thought was going to be amazingly helpful, but turned out to be a stupid decision on my part, which was rather naive. I actually tried to communicate with them and help them out, and when they saw I was a kid, I got fired.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did. I mean, that was one of the things that made me want to move away from this when I was in my mid-teens, is because I saw this world as being totally unready for what I was, and so I wanted to kind of blend in, which was, I now see was really dumb, but that's what I wanted to do because I was just a kid back then, just 15 years old, and the process that I had in my head was that this is not working. I have to get rid of this, and now that I'm an adult, some of the stuff that I could do when I was a kid I can't do anymore, so I feel like I really did something stupid.
Oh, well, I'm sure it wasn't really